A second film tonight at 11 o'clock has Bruce Willis as cat burglar Hudson Hawk. This is Granada.
From the studios of ITN, the news and sport with Carol Barnes and Graham Miller.
Welcome to the programme. The headlines tonight. The Referendum Party, Goldsmith's stark warning over Europe.
And in sport, Vinnie Jones' crazy gang steals the football limelight again.
Sir James Goldsmith rallied supporters of his Referendum Party today with a warning that Britain was being led blindfold into a federal superstate. He told his party's one-day conference in Brighton that he'd fight with all his might for a referendum on Britain's future in Europe. And he shrugged off John Major's suggestion that the party was a fringe organisation. Adrian Britton reports from Brighton.
It's been seen as the one-day conference by the one-issue party. Their slogan read, "Let the people decide over Britain's future role in Europe." At question, however, is whether the Referendum Party will be able to convince the electorate they are anything more than a pressure group enriched by the millions of Sir James Goldsmith.
We've been encouraged to sleepwalk into surrendering our nation. We, the rabble army, we in the Referendum Party, we will strive with all our strength to obtain for the people of these islands the right to decide whether or not Britain should remain a nation.
Pro-Europeans brought their demonstration to the conference door. Inside, glitzy videos intersperse the rallying calls for a Euro vote, with actor Edward Fox taking the stage as one of the party's big names.
Politicians fear the free vote of free people.
The party says it will disband if the government concedes to a referendum. But with John Major describing the party as a fringe organisation, this Brighton conference has now committed Sir James to putting up his candidates and fighting the next election. A billionaire en route to the ballot box. He's been described as the Ross Perot of British politics. But Sir James may find, unlike the States, British voters are traditionally cautious when fortunes are used to secure political power. Adrian Britton, ITN, Brighton.
Russia's sacked National Security Chief Alexander Lebed hit out tonight at the man picked to replace him. He called Ivan Rybkin, who was appointed today by President Boris Yeltsin, an incompetent bureaucrat. Our Moscow correspondent Julian Mannion reports.
Boris Yeltsin appointed his new security chief at the sanatorium, where the president is still resting before his planned heart operation. Yeltsin's choice is Ivan Rybkin, best described as a safe pair of hands with much experience of the revolving doors of Russian politics. And Yeltsin was positively beaming as he left. Rybkin is a loyal moderate, previously Speaker of the Parliament, who could hardly be more different from the gruff, straight-talking general that Yeltsin sacked on Thursday. Alexander Lebed saw it as his mission to try and clean up the cesspools of Russian politics, but his successor will want no part of that. Lebed's great achievement was to halt the costly war in Chechnya, which he publicly described as futile. On television tonight, Rybkin promised to press on with the peacemaking effort. But the country still has all its deep-rooted problems, and Russians will soon find out if Ivan Rybkin is the man to tackle them. Julian Mannion, ITN, Moscow.
Sectarian violence forced a football match to be abandoned in Northern Ireland today. Stones, bottles and other missiles were hurled at buses used by Catholic supporters of the Irish League team Cliftonville. Several people were hurt in the clashes in Portadown. Here's our island correspondent, John Irvine.
The football club Cliftonville has mainly Catholic support, and it's for that reason fans were attacked. Their journey to an away game took them through a Protestant area where stone throwers were waiting. The buses were pelted and several people were injured. A family day out became a terrifying experience.
We have two children here that was on the bus, this young girl and this young lad here, and they were in hysterics. It was kind of like a battlefield.
In Londonderry today, the RUC were present in force to prevent trouble at a controversial loyalist parade. The residents of the Catholic Bogside objected to the march and shouted abuse as the apprentice boys walked along the city walls. Traditional divisions, it seems, are as pronounced as ever. John Irvine, ITN, Derry.
A teenager has been freed on police bail today after being questioned about the concrete block attack on a motorway driver. Doctors say Simon Wilmot has a 50% chance of survival. The concrete was dropped onto his car from a bridge on the M3. Frances Lawrence, the widow of the murdered headmaster, won widespread support today for her proposed campaign against violence amongst the young. Her husband Philip had discussed the problem with her, she said, before he was stabbed. A 16-year-old's been jailed for his murder. And the world's largest cruise ship is now ready to sail. The Carnival d'Estavi was built in Italy. It's taller than the Statue of Liberty, with a 9-storey atrium inside. It also includes a theatre which seats 1,500 people. Now, with news of today's sport, here's Graham Miller.
The Crazy Gang continues to amaze the world of football. Wimbledon made it a club record 7 wins in a row with victory over Chelsea. Their latest success takes them to joint top of the English Premiership. Evan Okoku struck home the 4th goal, but it just wasn't enough to take them top. Arsenal's goalless draw with Coventry lifts the Gunners top on goal difference. But all that could change after tomorrow's games. Newcastle play Manchester United, Liverpool, Everton. At the top of the First Division, Bolton battled back from 3-1 down at Charlton to earn themselves a vital point. Charlton had Phil Chappell sent off. Bolton took full advantage. Nathan Blake with their 3rd. There was more good news for Bolton with their nearest rivals Norwich and Palace both losing. Norwich lost at Main Road to give Steve Coppell his first win as City manager. Nigel Clough got the first of their goals. In Scotland, the question before kick-off was, would Paul Gascoigne play for Rangers? He did, and he scored. A curler direct from a free kick helped Rangers into a 2-0 lead, but they let it slip. What's more, if Celtic win at Hearts tomorrow, the old enemy could replace Rangers at the top. Henry Cecil has made almost certain of the trainer's title with victory in the Dubai Champion Stakes at Newmarket. His horse, Bosra Sham, beat the favourite Halling, trained by his only rival, Saeed bin Sarur. Peter Staunton reports.
For the whole season, 2 stables had battled head-to-head for the Trainers' Championship. In the best Dubai Champion Stakes for years, the issue was finally decided. Henry Cecil, behind in the title race, had prepared Bosra Sham to take on the strongly fancied Halling. After tucking in behind the favourite, Pat Edry timed Bosra Sham's run to perfection.
Inside the final furlong, and Bosra Sham, Halling in 2nd place, then Timarina in 3rd, but hail a champion filly, it's Bosra Sham, she's taken Halling up towards the line, Bosra Sham wins it at the post.
So Bosra Sham had ended Halling's 2-year unbeaten run and destroyed the Godolphin stable's hopes of the title. The £200,000 prize had guaranteed Cecil his 11th championship, probably the one he'd had to fight the hardest for over a season. Peter Staunton, ITN Sport.
The final of the World Match Play Championship at Wentworth will be between South Africa's Ernie Els and Vijay Singh of Fiji. Els thrashed the American Mark Brooks 10 and 8 in the semis to remain on target for a record 3rd title in a row. No joy in the semi-finals, though, for Tim Henman. He faltered again at the Czech Open in Ostrava, losing in straight sets to the German David Prinasil. Pontypridd made it 3 wins in a row in the Heineken Cup. Bath the victims this time. The only try of the game came from the Welsh international scrum half Paul John.
Finally, this week's winning lottery numbers. They are 10, 13, 31, 34, 39 and 48. The bonus number is 33. There are no winning tickets, so next week's jackpot will be an estimated £20 million. And that's the news tonight. From Graham and me and the ITN Weekend team, good night.
Good night.
Hello and good evening. We're in for a warm night tonight with some rain around. Things are staying changeable for tomorrow as wet weather spreads in from the west. Now it's this warm front which is going to bring tonight's rain and drizzle, and this cold front further west still which is bringing all of tomorrow's wet weather. But at least this system is dragging some mild air up from the southwest, so it's never going to feel too cold for any of us. Now the satellite picture shows the cloud that this system's already brought into western parts of the country earlier on today, and it does mean a cloudy, murky night tonight. We'll have more in the way of rain for the north, but lighter, patchier drizzle further south. There'll be lots of fog for the coasts and hills, but at least it's going to be a warm night for all of us. Now, by tomorrow morning, eastern parts of England will have turned dry up. There'll be some brightness around, but really not much in the way of sunshine. We're soon going to see that rain getting into Ireland and western parts of Britain, and it's through the rest of the day that we're going to see that cloud and rain continuing to spread further east across the rest of the country. Now, despite all the cloud and the rain, it's going to be a relatively warm day tomorrow. We've got highs of 17 or 18 Celsius in some places, 18 a very respectable 64 in Fahrenheit, but it's still going to stay breezy. That's it. Good night.
Sponsored by PowerGen, electricity for homes and industry, whatever the weather.